All right, good day. I want to wish everybody all the fathers out there happy Father's Day. I'm going to actually release this video on Father's Day. However, for you biological fathers that don't participate in your children's life by choice, this ain't your holiday. We'll celebrate you on April 1st. All right, so what I want to talk about, the importance of Father's Day, is that fathers are critical in their children's lives. And if the biological father is not participating by choice, you need another role model. And I'll tell you my own story because it changed the direction of my life. For whatever reason, my biological father just didn't want to be a part of my life. And it is what it is. And so I was very fortunate that my grandfather took me in and, raised me as his own. And I learned so much from him in life that I would have missed out had I been raised by my biological father or not had him. And he was an amazing man. His name is Royce Teague. He retired as a chief in the U.S. Navy. He was at Pearl Harbor when it was bombed. After he retired, he became a truck driver. He drove semis cross country, delivering goods. And then towards the end of his life, after he had retired from driving the truck, and he was suffering from lung cancer, he took a job as a janitor at the local high school. And I don't know if he needed the money. I just know that there was no work that was beneath him. He didn't sit there and say, I was at Pearl Harbor, I was a chief in the Navy, this work is beneath me. There was nothing that was beneath him. He did what he had to do to support me and my grandmother, and I learned so much from him. And then in addition, I went back to visit that house, I don't know, about 6-7 years ago. And it was less than 1,000 square foot house. And him and my grandmother, they would rescue dogs. So up to any time, we would have up to 6 dogs living in that house. My grandmother would find a dog, he would rescue the dog. And if for some reason 6 was the magical number, I don't know how he had come up to 6, but he was like, we can't take no more than 6. That was his magical number. And we had 6 dogs, and it never felt crowded. It was just a 2-bedroom house with a basement, and the dogs lived amongst us, and there was a lot of love in the house. So my grandfather, taking on a responsibility of raising me as a young boy, changed the direction of my life. And it gave me values. One, I followed his footsteps and I went into the U.S. Navy. And I did 33 years in the U.S. Navy. I love dogs. Anybody that knows me knows I've got 2 dogs. I got Baylor and Panda are my 2 dogs. I remember when me and my wife first got married, she's like, you let your dog sleep in the bed with you at night? I'm like, yeah, that's what I've always done. Why wouldn't I? It took her some adjustment, but she now appreciates our dog that sleeps in the bed with us. And, it's just, those were values that I learned. And, so that work ethic that I learned from him, that kindness that I learned from him, just his noble character, those things really changed the course of my life. And I'm so grateful for him. And so, if you don't have children, or if you do have children and you see a child that needs, guidance, and, you can do that in their life, man, please do. Step up. We can't change the world, but you can change the world for that child. And so I encourage more men to be good fathers. Take on that role, even if the child's not biologically yours. take on that role. Somebody needs to fill that role. And that role, my grandfather taking that role for me, changed my life. And even in martial arts, I remember he taught me how to box in our front yard. We had boxing gloves on. I was probably like kindergarten, first grade. And he's teaching me how to jab and how to do an uppercut and a hook and an overhand right and combinations. And it's like, the foundations of my martial arts journey started with him, just teaching me boxing. So it was just really amazing. And one of the cool things we do here in Texas, because my grandfather, he passed away in 1984, but one of the really cool things we do in Texas is we honor the dead. We'll have like an ofrenda, we put their photos. There's even a Day of the Dead. That's part of the culture here, and it's a really wonderful thing. It's just remembering, those who've passed, and so he changed my life, and I try to live up to that standard that he set, and raising my children, raising my stepchildren, participating in raising my grandchildren, and being a guide and a mentor to the children that come through and maybe need that extra guidance that come through my martial arts school. So I encourage everybody out there to do what you can. And if you have a story about your father or somebody who took a father's role in your life that really made a big difference, man, please share below. And I think that's one way of celebrating those dads that made a difference. And like I said, if you're a biological father and you've chosen not to participate in your child's life, this ain't your holiday. We'll celebrate you on April 1st. Ciao.